Hi, everyone. So, today I want to talk to you about my latest Instagram post. And I think what I'm going to be doing from here on out is having conversations with you all about my Instagram posts, among other things. So, today's Instagram post, I have on my post a quote from Michelle Yeoh. And the quote is, "Your story may not have such a happy beginning, but that doesn't make you who you are. It is the rest of your story, who you choose to be." Every day I post something like this on Instagram, and every day I'm thinking about why I exist, why I am here on the planet, what is my message, what am I leaving behind. I've been doing this Instagram thing for about 5 years now, and progressively changing up how I do it to the point now where if you follow me on Instagram, you will see my whiteboard, my quotes, and you will see various images, various figurines that I have, little dolls, toys, etc. Some of which I have found on the streets and in abandoned in playgrounds. Sometimes being thrown away in the trash. Yes, I pick the trash from time to time. And some I've actually bought because I thought that was a really cool figurine or doll. Um, and but when I started out my Instagram post, it was really just a quote, and the quote being something that was on my heart or on my mind or some relationship to what was going on in the world, and I needed to speak to that. I'm a Quaker, so if you are familiar with Quakers, you will know that Quakers tend to worship in silence, right? But not, all the time. Like they're Quakers will worship in silence until somebody stands up and breaks that silence. And the idea is that that person who is breaking the silence is participating in this thing we call vocal ministry or vocal testimony. Ideally, that this is coming from the spirit, coming from the heart and the soul, not necessarily coming from the mind or from the ego, although at times that may be where it's coming from. But in the ideal sense, what is being shared out of that silence to everybody in the room who is listening is a thought that might be helpful to people who are in the room, as well as the individual who's sharing the thought. Being a Quaker for the last 11 or 12 years, I have not ever once done this vocal ministry thing, mostly because I haven't really felt led by the Spirit to do it. However, as I began doing my quotation series, I figured that this was my version of vocal ministry. In this case, it's Instagram ministry or social media ministry. Um, and my quotes come from all different places. They come from Bruce Lee, they come from John Lennon, they come from Dr. Martin Luther King, etc. You name it. I am looking for the people that people will know as well as the people that people wouldn't know, because I'm looking for a quote that speaks to my condition, and maybe that quote will speak to other people's condition. So today's quote, I'll repeat it again. Your story may not have such a happy beginning, but that doesn't make you who you are. It is the rest of your story, who you choose to be. Quoted by Michelle Yeoh, actress. What does this mean? Why did I post that today? Well, I think fundamentally, as I've been thinking about the quote and why I chose it, we all have aspirations. We all dream. Some of us move more intentionally with our dreams and our aspirations. Others just sit in our dreams. And I feel like this particular quote is speaking to the person who wants to get off the fence, the person who needs to do something more than what they have been doing, do something more than what they are doing. And they haven't done it yet because they just don't feel like they're enough. you are enough. I am enough. Anything that we want to do in life, we can at least attempt to do. And with intentionality, we may actually be able to accomplish that thing that we set out to do. But often we find ourselves, I believe I do this personally at times too, this whole thing called imposter syndrome, where you are second guessing yourself because of your background, because of your story, because of your upbringing, because of your class, because of your gender, because of your gender identity, your sexual identity, because of any number of things that you give power to, which even if the world and society uses those things to marginalize you, you also buy into the reason why they are doing that and marginalizing you. Well, I thought about all of the things that I'm up to these days, from working on speaking engagements to creating artwork to developing a docu-series with a friend of mine, and um, and thinking about all the things that could have prevented me from ever saying I can do that. I grew up poor. Um, I grew up isolated in a certain way, where I was my family were the only Puerto Ricans in a neighborhood of non-Puerto Ricans. Um, uh, I went to Catholic school and then ultimately transferred to the public school because I was experiencing a heavy dose of racism. Um, I have things that I might consider baggage, or that could be considered my racket or my story, the things that might be utilized to have me say, I can't do that. Why would anybody take me seriously? Why would I want to even try to do that? I don't think I'm going to accomplish much if I even make an attempt. So let me not do it. Um, and I feel like this quote particularly is speaking to me about the rest of my story, and the story that has yet to be told. I have failed in life. I think failure is important. It helps us become who we are. It helps us learn. But failure doesn't always feel good. And I definitely know that there are times in my life when I have failed at things and never gotten back up on that horse or that proverbial bike. Why? Because I failed, and I failed hard. Um, Now, I'm the type of person who doesn't necessarily allow any one failure to stop me from trying other things, but a failure or two might have me stop doing that one thing that I failed at, and I have had that experience. So as I was thinking this morning about what I was thinking about, what was on my mind in terms of what am I sharing today, what am I feeling, I'm recognizing that I have a variety of creative projects and some entrepreneurial pursuits that I'm working on that would not be possible if I were holding on to a racket about my inability to get things done because of any identity that I have, what my story is, right? And so I started looking for a quote that was about my story and about achieving, despite the fact that I might have challenges or have experienced challenges in my past. And so today's quote to us came to me uh, via the internet, and from Michelle Yeoh. Uh, I want to say that as an actor, um, a person who performs in front of people, she is definitely one of my favorite performers. I, you know, I, I've seen her in a number of movies, as probably you have, and each time I thought to myself, wow, like that, this is the same person doing a different character and doing it well. I haven't seen her new movie yet, so I'm really eager to see that. Um, and yet, I think I understand this quote. I think her story, as I understand it, coming from a place where women in the acting industry, and particularly a woman of color, a woman of a different ethnic identity than your white American woman or your Anglo person here in the United States, Little and Anywhere in the World, says a lot about her character and her desire to be who she has become ultimately as a world famous actor and a person of quality and caliber in terms of their craft. And but she came from humble beginnings. She came from a place where women weren't easily accepted in the industry, and her story could have held her back. Her story could have made it so that she didn't even try to do the things that she has accomplished. So when I found this quote today, I certainly said I have to share this. This is speaking to me, and it's helping me think about the pursuits that I have in front of me and why giving up is not an option. It may be that I fail and I don't succeed, and I learn something from that. But if I give up before any of that happens, well, then I won't have learned a thing, right? So allowing my story, the negative elements of it particularly, to drive what I do or don't do is something that I know I need to work on and not have as part of my ongoing existence. I hope that you are encouraged as well to not have your story be the thing that holds you back from doing all of the wonderful, amazing possibilities that exist in this world, things that you may not have even discovered yet. Stay tuned for